welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're coming back, thank you so much for your support. It means the world. And today I'm sitting in my little chair of wisdom and I just wanted to share some thoughts about how I have finally come to a point where I feel great in my own skin and I've been able to truly love the person that I am and that I'm becoming. And it hasn't been easy. It's been a very difficult journey, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about how I've been able to come to this point where I love myself and I feel the most confident that I have ever felt in my whole life. Dare I say it? Yes, I do. And I guess it all started when I was a young girl. I always had a very low self-esteem, and I never felt beautiful. I never felt confident. I was incredibly shy, which is not necessarily a bad thing, okay? Now we say you're an introvert, an extrovert, and sometimes I feel like people look down on being shy. There's nothing wrong with that. Some of us are a little less social, and that is okay. And it doesn't matter if people are louder or other people are more quiet. But anyways, growing up, I was so shy that my mom shares a story that people would come up to her and be like, "Does your daughter speak? Like, is she mute?" No, I was not mute. And my mom laughs because she's like, "And you were so loud at home, I couldn't get you to shut up, but in public, you were so shy." And a lot of my life, that's how I grew up. People telling me, "Oh, she's so shy, she's so shy." And in my teenage years, this got so much worse, and I was not confident in myself. And so one of the things that I felt like has helped me come to this place where I feel good after so many years of being super, super shy is learning to heal from trauma. Okay, so that's huge. Very first and foremost, if you have childhood trauma or you have any type of trauma, which we all have some kind of trauma, but if it's like pretty, abnormal, intense trauma, then I highly, highly, highly recommend going to therapy and finding the healing that you need, finding a good therapist. It took me such a long time to find a good therapist and to find one that, helped me progress and I felt comfortable with. I went to therapy more than once throughout my life, but most recently after having my baby, this last therapist, wow, she's a miracle worker. She truly helped me so much. So first and foremost, if you have any unhealed or a trauma that you haven't dealt with, just try to get the help, professional help, to start that healing process. And if you're not ready and you're scared, it's okay. I have been there, and I did try to avoid therapy for a long time because I didn't really want to accept that I had issues and burdens and things that I needed help with. And so when I finally moved past that and started to be okay with opening up and talking about really hard things, being in that dark space is what helped me start the real healing. So if you need therapy, don't be scared to go and reach out and try to find a therapist. And if you have to go through multiple therapists before you find a match, that is okay. That is totally normal. It's actually really hard, I feel like, to find a good therapist. So that is my number one advice, is to go to therapy and start your healing process if you have undealt with trauma, okay? Now, for this next part, I want to share a couple of things that I have been thinking about, and it hurts me. It makes me feel really sad. There's people out there that have gone through something similar. Just know that you're not alone, and it's okay. We're all overcoming together. So I was so unconfident, and I had such a low self-esteem growing up that I remember that in 8th grade, I was getting into volleyball. And at church, we had a volleyball tournament, and our coach at the time from church, she was a professional volleyball player in her country in Peru. And she was teaching us, and we were doing practices, and I was getting really good. I felt pretty comfortable. I was playing with adults. I was getting really good at it, to the point where I decided I'm going to try out for my middle school volleyball team. So tryouts came, and I was so nervous. I remember my stomach, I was sick to my stomach, but I stayed after school. I remember that I told my family, I can't remember who my ride was, but I let them know, I'm going to try out for volleyball. And I went to the tryouts. And then the next day, I psyched myself out, and I decided to not go back. You know how you make first cuts, and all of the cuts, they put this paper on the outside of the gym to see if you can come back the next day and the next day until, they announce the team. I was so terrified that I went to the first tryout, and then I never went to go check if I made the cut or not. I automatically disqualified myself. And to this day, it hurts me. It makes me so sad that I didn't believe in myself. And so this is like the huge other lesson I've learned, is that you can't expect other people to be there for you and to believe in you. You know, you think back and you're like, oh my gosh, if I would have just had somebody to believe in me. No, you need to believe in yourself. Let me repeat that again. You need to believe in yourself, because we pass up so many opportunities and so many things by failing, by us like acting like we've already failed before we've even started. No, give yourself a chance. You are enough. You just need to believe it. And this brings me to my next point of what helped me get to where I am. And that's starting to listen to the scripts that I play up here. We all have things that we tell ourselves. We all have a script. We all have things that we're repeating in our mind. And so it's really important to go back and think, okay, what was I telling myself? Why didn't I go back for the next days of the volleyball tryouts? Like, what did I tell myself? I was telling myself, I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. Who do you think you are? All of these things. And throughout my life, that's what I kept telling myself, was these negative, awful things. And so how did I work on this? I changed the script. Finally, in my adulthood, and like I said, going to therapy and throughout the years and gaining wisdom and learning about myself and learning to love myself, I started that by telling myself the truths that I needed to hear, such as, I am beautiful. I am good enough. I am brave. I am worth so much. I started to do that in front of a mirror. And let me tell you, the first couple of times that I did this, I couldn't even speak. I would like look at myself in the mirror and I felt so awful. I would just cry and I couldn't even speak affirmations because I was just in such a low place. And so I kept at it and I kept doing it and doing it. And you feel ridiculous at first, because if your self-esteem was like mine, it's so low that you're like, I don't believe this. I don't believe it. But do it until you believe it. And believe me, as you say it more, and every time those negative thoughts come to your mind and you combat them and say no, silence. Not today, Satan, not today. And you stop falling for those lies and you start to realize who you really are, and you repeat it to yourself. I am strong. I am brave. I'm enough. I'm beautiful. I'm awesome. It'll come to a day that the more you repeat it, you'll finally believe it. And it's going to be wonderful. And when you get there, you're just going to look back and think, wow, to think that I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror and tell myself these things. And now like I know it and I own it and I know who I am. My next advice would be that you just go for it. Do the scary things that you're dreading. Put yourself out there. Don't be afraid of failure, of rejection. Like when it comes down to it, really think about it. What are you really scared of? Ask yourself that. What am I really scared of? Am I really scared of, because all of these insecurities are rooted in a fear. And the book that really helped me to realize that is Think Like a Monk. I've been reading it. It's a really good book, by the way. I'll have to do a book review if you guys are interested. But it gets down to, one of the chapters is like analyzing your fears. Like, what are you really scared of, right? All these insecurities are rooted in something. There is a root to them. So figuring out what that is and working through it. So for me, that was one of the things that motivated me to start this YouTube channel. I was so scared what people were going to think. What are people going to say? What are the internet trolls going to post in their comments and things? It's going to shatter my self-esteem. No. Why? Because I know who I am. I know my worth. I know what I want to be. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm capable of. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what other people think. Whatever they're saying, and what I've come to learn is like, the more people voice negativity and those like trolls and those bullies in the world, the issue is within themselves. They're not okay with themselves. They are the problem. It's them. And so the more that we try to do these things that are scary, the more that you do them, the more you're going to feel awesome. My self-esteem has improved so much since I've decided to shut up those inner bullies within my own self, to not care what the outer bullies in the world think, and to just do what makes me happy and be myself and do those things that are scary, and to understand and realize like, why am I scared of this? And then as I work through it and I realize like, oh my gosh, I'm scared because for me and how I measure success means not failing. And what does failure look like to me? It looks like not being perfect. Hello, nobody's perfect. And so as you work through these belief systems that you have and find these fears, you're going to realize that at the end of the day, it's all because of what you think here. Okay. All right. The next thing that was huge in me, like loving myself and learning to embrace who I am and love myself no matter what, is by not attaching my worth to accomplishments or to objects, right? Like you are you, and your worth is not going to change whether you get into medical school or whether you get that job that you've wanted or whether you get married when you wanted to or whether your marriage works out. All of these things, etc., etc., etc. Those do not define your worth, okay? Your worth is not changing. It is infinite. It is beautiful. And don't fall into the trap that your accomplishments determine your worth. That is baloney. That is not true, okay? And I beat myself up for so long when things didn't work out the way that I wanted them to, when getting married took longer than I wanted, and living the single life and dating was awful. And when I didn't get into medical school or pursue the career at the time that I wanted, when all these things weren't working out, then I told myself, it's because you're worthless. No. That is not true, okay? Your worth is not determined by your accomplishments, okay? Well, I just wanted to share that with you, and I hope that these things really do help you as they have helped me. And it's not like I don't have my ups and downs, right? I still have days where maybe I don't feel my best. Like I posted a video the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, I look so awful first thing in the morning. Well, hello, who doesn't look awful first thing in the morning? Well, of course, like you are a human being. It is okay. And so every now and then I gotta, spank myself, give myself a little slap on the hand and say, hey, you be nice. But I promise that it's worth it, and you're amazing. And thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk. If you haven't already, please subscribe.